Okay. Bowen, everyone, and good morning in assessment level 1 Sri Lanka, everyone. It's really, really nice to have you on our webinar today. Thank you for joining. First thing in the morning, we've just changed to daylight saving in Melbourne, so the time zones are a little bit further apart. But anyway, I hope you've all got your coffee and your hopper ready to go. So we're pretty excited about the webinar today. We've had a whole bunch of visas come through from Sri Lanka in the last little short while, and obviously everyone's very keen to know more about the assessment level changes that have come through from the Australian government. So there's a big opportunity there. As we discussed a couple of weeks ago in Colombo, there's a big opportunity with Southern Cross. We've got our new IT and business courses that include artificial intelligence. They've all got work placements, and of course we've got Access 26. So all of the courses at our metro campuses are $26,000 next year, which is for all new students and continuing students. So Southern Cross is very, very affordable. Hot off the presses, hasn't been announced anywhere yet, but we've also just heard that Southern Cross has moved into the world's top 500 universities according to the Times higher education rankings. That has just come through today. That's very, very exciting. It's difficult to find a university as young as Southern Cross that's made it to that high ranking. So obviously something is going right for the university. So just to give us some updates on admissions, GS requirements, and what's changing in Australia, I'll introduce the famous Mr. John Crowder. Over to you, John. And just a reminder, everyone, if you have questions, please drop them in the Q&A and we will get through them at the end of the session. So thanks for joining. I'll hand over to John. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, and good morning, everyone. Great to be here with you all, and I'm sure you're all very excited to hear this latest news about Sri Lanka going to level 1 and what that means for us in admissions. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Now, we have made some significant updates because Sri Lanka has moved into that level 1 space. So we treat all institutions at level 1 in the same way, and therefore we are now applying those same guidelines to Sri Lanka. So most of you will be aware of this tool. If you are not, please do bookmark it and refer to it regularly. This is the place where we keep you updated with all of the academic, financial, genuine student requirements on a country by country level. All you need to do to use it is type Sri Lanka into the search bar, hit enter, and you will see that Sri Lanka appears on the left-hand side with this accordion drop-down list. Now, previously, when Sri Lanka was at level 2, you would have been familiar with the level 2 and 3 genuine student statement. You'll be very pleased to know that the genuine student statement now has been upgraded to the onshore and level 1 version. So if you click on that link there, it will take you through to the form. You will see the form is much shorter and doesn't have all of the financial information at the end of it. So you are still required to submit a genuine student statement, but because Sri Lanka is level 1, we will generally not ask for supporting documentation, except down the bottom here we have evidence of finances. Now this says if requested. For Sri Lanka, it will be requested every time. All we need in terms of evidence for finances now, we are no longer looking at things like the sponsor income or rental income and this sort of thing, we take it for granted that you are following that, and we are not asking for evidence. What we want to see is evidence that the student has sufficient funds for the first year of study. So that is their first year of tuition fees and living expenses. Based on current requirements by the Department of Home Affairs and the current SCU fees, that is approximately about 58,000 Australian dollars. So $26,000 for fees and approximately $30,000 for living expenses. So all the student needs to show is that they have access to those funds in a bank account, either their own or their sponsors, and that is generally all we will ask for. However, if we find that the genuine student statement has not been answered adequately, we will request a revised genuine student statement with supporting documentation. So it is very important that you take the genuine student statement seriously. Ensure that the student writes a strong, genuine student statement the first time. And if they do that, we will not need to request any evidence supporting evidence for those responses. So that is a big change. It will save you a lot of time and will save admissions a lot of time as well. There are some documents which do need to be uploaded at the time. If the applicant is married and they have not already uploaded their spouse documents with their application, they will need to upload them here. So for married applicants, we must have a copy of the marriage certificate, a copy of the spouse's highest qualification, and evidence of the spouse's current employment, if that is relevant. And you would just upload that to the form. Also, if the student has any significant gaps in study, so for offshore students, if those gaps exceed 6 months, they would need to explain what they've been doing in the gap and upload evidence of what they've been doing in the gap. Now, again, if you do not upload that evidence, the team will come back and ask for it. So it is better to upload it all up front to make sure that we can get this through very quickly. One thing we've got to be really clear about is that although Sri Lanka has moved to level 1, we still need to be careful to ensure that we are meeting the requirements that immigration sets. Now, as a level 1 country, if you look at the document checklist tool on the immigration website, you will see that generally speaking, level 1 countries are not required to provide evidence of IELTS or finances. However, we know that immigration is still checking financial documents for students from level 1 countries, and we have seen visa refusals where immigration has requested that information and the student has been unable to provide evidence that is considered adequate by immigration. If we want to keep Sri Lanka at level 1, it is really important that we still focus on quality students who are able to prove that they meet those requirements for grant of a visa. Things are great at the moment. As was mentioned earlier, we're getting good visa grants coming through. But if immigration starts to see that the quality is dropping because everyone says, yeehaw, we're level 1 now, we don't need to worry about quality, that will change. So it's in everyone's best interest to make sure we are getting quality applicants with quality documentation coming through. What we will be asking for now as well, at the same time as the genuine student statement, is this document here. So you will need to complete both. This is the genuine student and financial capacity declaration. Clicking on this will take you through to this form, and this is basically just you declaring that you have verified all of the documents that we are not asking for as evidence now. So in this form, you would complete the student name, again, making sure that the study link record email address is correct. So this comes through to us in the student study link record. The name of the agency, the name of the person from the agency that is completing the form, and the email address for the person completing the form. You will then be ticking off to say, tick off each of these boxes. You can see that they have a red star next to them, which means it is mandatory. So you confirm that the nominated financial sponsors are eligible and that each sponsor meets the minimum income requirement specified for the student's country. You will be confirming that the evidence of funds earned from sponsor salary, if required, has been checked and verified, and that such evidence will be provided to the Department of Home Affairs in relation to an application for a student visa and is available to the university if we decide to audit the application. Source of funds from sale of land. We confirm that the declared funds, if from sale of land or property, are not derived entirely, 100%, from the sale of land or property, and then at least 20% of the funds originate from savings or other acceptable sources. And you would continue on ticking each one of these to confirm that you have verified all of this information, and then submit the form. That will come through to us. As I said, because Sri Lanka is now level 1, we are not asking for all of this documentation to be provided as evidence. That does not mean that these requirements no longer exist. So we still have, if you look at the financials, for example, we still have requirements on sponsors. So the sponsor can be a parent, a spouse, a grandparent, parents-in-law. We will consider paternal aunts and uncles in some cases siblings on particular grounds. So it may be considered where you can provide evidence that the aunt or uncle or sibling has been providing ongoing financial support to the student or their family. We may consider that there. We still have a minimum sponsor income requirement. We are not going to check that, but we expect that you do. The minimum sponsor income for Sri Lanka is 20,000 Australian dollars for a single applicant and $25,000 for a married applicant. We still don't accept finances from agricultural sources unless that can be proven in official tax documents or whatever else. So these requirements are still in place, but we are just not requesting the evidence. And that is the advantage of being at level 1. So we are asking that you do the the vetting of that, ensuring that the student has those documents, and you'll be signing that declaration to say that that has been all checked. Generally speaking, we won't ask for anything else. However, we will be conducting random audits across all level 1 countries, not just Sri Lanka. So it may be from time to time that we will ask you to provide the documentation as part of an audit, just so we can see that. The other thing that you will be declaring on this declaration is that you will be down here by submitting this form. I declare and confirm that all above information is true, complete, and accurate to the best of my knowledge. And I understand that I'm required to share the student's visa application in IMI account. So we do require that all visa applications are shared with us in IMI account. This is something that immigration has said they want the universities to do, and this is a way that we can ensure that the documentation being provided is of a quality that immigration is happy with and that the university is happy with. Documentation required, nothing has changed there. So to lodge a valid application and get your provisional offer within 24 hours, all we need is a completed application in StudyLink. We need copies of the academic transcripts and completion certificates. So if the student is applying for a bachelor degree, that will mean we need evidence of completion of 12th grade or a valid diploma. If they're applying for postgraduate studies, we would need evidence of completion of their bachelor degree and their transcripts. We need a color copy of their passport biodata page. We ask for a color copy so that no verification is needed. Color copy makes it a lot easier to ensure that passport is, the details are correct. If the student is married, we do require a copy of the marriage certificate, evidence of the spouse highest qualification, current employment and salary details. As long as you provide those documents, you will get your provisional offer within 24 hours of lodging that application. Now, if we go to the specific genuine student requirements, you will see that we have waived the interview requirement for single applicants. So this will mean all undergraduate students, because we don't allow married applicants for undergraduate programs. So we no longer require an interview for undergraduate applicants. We will also not require an interview for postgraduate students if they are single. Married applicants will still be required to undergo an interview, but this will obviously help a lot as well. Meaning the majority of students will not require an interview anymore. The academic requirements are all set out here. There are no changes to the academic requirements. That is all the same. The financials, as I've said, we've just gone through that. What we really need to see is evidence that the applicant has sufficient funds for the first year of tuition fees plus living expenses and their travel expenses. For Sri Lanka, this need only be in the form of a bank deposit with minimum 3-month savings. So we have reduced that from 6 months to 3 months, and we will be monitoring this very carefully. If we receive visa refusals on financial grounds, we may need to reconsider this, but at the moment, we're treating Sri Lanka like we do any other level 1 country and trying to make it as easy as possible for you. The minimum genuine student requirements, there's not a lot of change here. Undergraduate, we still accept students up to the age of 25. We have increased the postgraduate age to 40. So we'll accept applicants up to the age of 40, but where the applicant is over the age of 35, we will request more information. So, we will apply a stricter criteria to older applicants, but we will consider them on a case-by-case basis. We do not accept applicants under the age of 18. That hasn't changed. The student can be under 18 at the time of application, but we will not issue a COE until they until they turn 18. Gaps, we're generally looking at a maximum of 12 months from the completion of 12th grade for undergraduate students. Postgraduate students, we have significantly extended the gap, and we will now accept gaps of up to 20 years. However, the applicant will need to provide strong evidence of what they have been doing in that gap and showing that it is related to the study that they intend to undertake in Australia. And we'll consider each of those on a case-by-case basis. So up to 20 years for postgraduate, but the longer the gap, the more evidence that will be expected, and the student will need to prove that the course that they are going to study aligns with what they've been doing and will be of benefit to their future. As I said before, undergraduate, we don't accept married couples. Postgraduate, we do accept married couples, but please be aware that marriages must be at least 12 months at the time of application. So it is not at the time they will commence their course. They must have been married for at least 12 months at the time of application, and there are no exceptions to that rule. Unfortunately, we have been advised that there are a relatively high number of scam marriages in Sri Lanka where people get married just to bring someone else out to Australia, but it is not a genuine marriage. So we must therefore ensure that the marriage is genuine, and this is why we ask for a minimum of 12 months at the time of application. All right, so specific genuine student requirements, as we've said, the completion of the genuine student statement and the declaration, which again you will find under here. Financials, just as we've said previously, the financials are all updated. The good news for Sri Lanka now in terms of English language, and I will add this, I will update this tool. We will now accept MOI from Sri Lanka where the student has completed a bachelor degree or a master's degree from a university from an English-speaking country. So that is Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, or USA. Even if that is taught in Sri Lanka. So we're aware that, for example, there are many UK universities that teach their courses in Sri Lanka. If the student has completed one of those courses, we will accept that as meeting the English language requirement. For foundation programs, we don't accept many foundation programs. Ones that are accepted are listed on the university website. ACBT Foundation Program, for example, is accepted. So if a student has completed the ACBT Foundation Program, we would consider that as meeting the English language requirement. Here I need to make it very clear that this is not waiving the English language requirement. We cannot ever waive the English language requirement. That is a mandatory requirement that all students must meet. However, if they have completed one of these eligible courses, it means that they meet the English language requirement, not that we're waiving it. We don't allow ELICOS pathways. Students must meet the English language requirement directly at the time of application. But I think with these MOI updates, now that should make things a lot easier for Sri Lankan students who have completed a qualification from an eligible institution. So that is basically the updates. I just wanted to also share with you this new tool that we have down here. It is the Student Eligibility Agent, or C. This will help you find answers to your questions quickly. All you need to do is type in your question at the bottom. And instead of having to look through everything here, if you typed in, for example, what are the financial requirements for Sri Lankan students and hit enter, this will troll the information provided in here and give you a response. We'll just wait for that. It's a little bit slow because we've got Teams open. But here it will go through proof of funds, exactly as we've said. Applicants must provide evidence of sufficient funds to cover the first year of tuition fees, living expenses, and travel. Who are the financial sponsors? It's all listed out there. So this is another way for you to find the information you're looking for. And hopefully that will help you also. So that is really the end of the presentation. I'm hoping that this is exciting news for you. There's been some significant changes made here. If anyone does have any questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll pass back to Chami now.
Thank you, Sir John. So we actually got two questions and three down. So first thing is all about how about the PSW for postgraduate who are aged more than 33 or 40?
So there is no postgraduate, no post-study work visa for any applicant over the age of 35. That is a new requirement from the Department of Home Affairs. Students over 35 just cannot apply for it anymore. So that is nothing to do with the university. It's an immigration requirement. So not much we can do about that.
Okay. Got it, sir. And if the applicant is married but applying as a single student, do they still have to meet the 12 months the marriage duration requirements?
Yes, they do. The reason for that is, unfortunately, we've had too many students telling lies about that. They will say, I am married, but my spouse is not coming to Australia with me. As soon as we issue the COE, then they come back and say, my spouse has changed their mind. Now they want to come to Australia. We cannot do that. So they must be married for at least 12 months at the time of application.
Yeah, so the next question is whether the spouse should have the same qualification as a student.
Generally speaking, yes. So if we expect a minimum of completion of 12th grade. So if the there's a little bit of difference, I guess, between whether it's a male or female applicant. If the student is female, we would expect, and she is applying for a postgraduate qualification, we would expect that her spouse has a bachelor's degree. If they don't have a bachelor's degree, they won't meet the requirement. That is flagged as a risk both to us and to immigration, because it makes it look like the spouse is coming to Australia just to work and get a higher pay than they would get in Sri Lanka as an unqualified person. So yes, generally speaking, we would expect the spouse to have a similar qualification. If the applicant is a male, so the student is the male and his wife does not have a bachelor degree, we would be a little bit more lenient in that situation, but we prefer that they have an equal qualification.
Gotcha. So the next question relates to same marriage. So we already answered, and all the teaching qualifications that we provide. So are they accredited by the ACE CQA?
So all of the teaching qualifications that we provide are accredited by the relevant body. There are different requirements in different states. So it's really depending on the course that the student is doing. If the student is studying the Graduate Diploma of Education in Early Childhood Studies, those courses are all fully accredited across the country. The Graduate Diploma of Teaching is the same. However, students, as the Graduate Diploma of Teaching is only offered in Perth, the accreditation requirements meet the requirements for Western Australia. Whether or not the student would get teacher's registration in another state at the moment, it varies state to state. But yes, overall, all of the education programs are accredited by SCU.
Gotcha. So the other one was already answered by the time of the presentation. So since there is a question says, so it says like, do we require income for 12 months or 6 months? So it was already answered, but just do you want to highlight on that one?
And so we are all of the previous requirements basically still apply. If a student is provided, that their income is coming from business, we would expect that they would be able to prove that business income. All we are asking for upfront as evidence is that they have their first year of living expenses and tuition fees that have been in an account for at least 3 months.
Yes. So just highlighting on that one, so that was already answered. So what the requirement for us is like the required funding in the bank for 3 months. So that's for living and the tuition. But while we expect you to go through all the financial documents and the income proof to make sure that students is eligible to apply, and also he will get through the visa processing. Because what we do now is like we rely on you and we giving you the responsibility. We expect you to check so where the income coming from and how long the funding was in the bank. So what we technically asking for is the 3 months funding in the bank, so which is for living and the tuition. But apart from that, what we expect you to go through the documents to make sure they are uh, quality applications, because we just became level 1, so we don't want to go back to level 3 or maybe even 4 or 5. So we rely, you check the documents, but what we require, it's the funding in the bank for 3 months. So not about the income or anything, but we believe you check whether do they have an income, where the money come from, whether are they even at least can they pay and study for the total the years of the program. So it's all about your responsibility. But in case if you have any clarification, so you're more than happy to go to Ravi, so who's the regional manager for Sri Lanka. You can come to me, or you're always happy to you're always free to go to Sir John and ask for it. And the other one, it's the Sir John, so do we accept any MOI from local or state universities? Nah. Sir, you on mute?
Sorry about that. No, unfortunately not. That doesn't meet the English language requirement of the university. We can only accept MOI where the qualification has been done from an institution from a recognised English-speaking country, which is Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, USA. That's it.
Okay. So in case if you anyone got maybe any foundation or a foreign qualification that you wanted the MOI to be accepted, so you can always come to Ravi or me, so we can just say whether we accept it or not. And the other one is the do you accept full land sale as a show money for Sri Lankan students?
No, we accept up to 80% only.
Yeah, so it's 80% from a land sale, but at least a 20% of the savings by their own. So that's the requirement, and the other one is the where to find the accepted foundation programs which meets the academic requirements for UG programs.
Let me just put that in the chat box. I'll give you the link. Okay, so I've put that link in the chat box there.
Yeah. So, and Ravi, so I can even share the link with you, so you will be able to share with all your partners across, so they will be able to go through. So the other one is the agricultural income should provide all the income details for 1 year.
That's correct. So we need to see official sources of documentation for agricultural income. And generally, that would need to be over one financial year, really because agricultural income is not constant. It comes in waves. So yes, we would expect at least 12 months.
Yeah. So even the next question was already answered. So only a bank balance confirmation matured for 3 months is needed for proof of funding, no any other supporting documents. Yeah, that was already answered. So what we asking for is the funding in the bank for 3 months, no any other additional documents. But what we believe is like you check on those whether do they have income proof or not. But what we're asking for is the 3 months of funding in the bank. So am I right, Sir John?
That's correct.
So if an undergraduate student has a completed foundation program affiliated with Australian or a UK university, will you grant English waiver?
No, only if it is from a foundation program that is listed on that website that I gave you. Foundation programs are not regulated, and there's no real standard for foundation programs. So only those that have been assessed by the university and considered equivalent we can use. As I said, on that website that I just sent through, we've got ACBT there. That one is definitely approved. There are some others. I might put this up on the online tool actually, because some of them may not be listed on that website. Let me just have a quick look. So completion of the Swinburne Unilink Foundation program, that is accepted. Successful completion of the Monash University Foundation year. Edith Cowan University Foundation program, UTS Foundation program, Deakin University Foundation program, ACBT, RMIT Foundation program. Those are the ones that we've currently got listed. So I will update the online tool and put those there.
Yeah, and so additionally, so if there's any UK foundation, do we accept?
Currently, no, not unless they're listed on that website.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the Sri Lankan student applying from offshore, can they apply for diploma pathway?
So for undergraduate students, yes, we will allow diploma pathways at this time. We will be very careful with those because we have seen in the past a higher rate of visa refusal. The only time that we would allow a diploma pathway is where the student does not meet the English language requirement for direct entry into the bachelor's degree.
Yeah. So Chintika got a question. So what is the turnaround time for the issuing an offer?
So that is always within 24 hours. If you provide us those minimum documents that I spoke about before, that is the completed application form, the academic documents such as transcripts and completion letters, a copy of the student's passport. As long as we have those minimum documents, we will issue a provisional offer within 24 hours.
Yeah. So even Rushra got a question. So that's regards to the MOI again. So if they completed a final year degree affiliated with a UK university, but completed an HND separately, so we'll be able to waive English. So Rushra, so I think so. These are like maybe a case by case, depending on the university or a provider.
No. The answer would be no, Chami. They have to have completed the degree. So if they've just done 1 year, that wouldn't be considered a complete degree.
All right. So if you do like HND from another institution, but your final from a UK, but we don't accept that. Yes. If a student recently married and keeping their spouse in Sri Lanka, can they still apply? So I think it was answered already. So no. Am I right, sir?
Mm-hmm. That is right. It is a minimum of 12 months marriage. There's no exception to that rule.
Is okay applicant age 35 to 40 for PGWP after study?
PGWP, the postgraduate
I think yes.
work visa. No, as I said, applicants over the age of 35 are not eligible for a post-study work visa anymore.
Yeah. So that's actually not under our control. So though we consider Sri Lanka has a level 1, so we increase the age limit up to 40. That does not mean so you can recruit students until 40. So we probably may still go on a case by case. We still may request for an interview if they are over age or maybe not into the framework. So what we believe that you do is to screen students. So what we were doing before, so we actually pass the responsibility to you now for you to check and see the possibility. It's all about we relaxing our requirement, but you make sure students are meeting the requirement to the High Commission. So at the end of the day, what we all require is the visa grant. So though it says 40, that does not mean if anyone 40 years old we may accept for masters. So it could be varied, but please make sure you check the quality. So, and it's all the responsibilities pass on to you. So,
So,
yeah.
so Tom, the difference there is that while we will accept students up to the age of 40, immigration won't accept them for a 485 visa. I'll quickly share my screen here and show you. So this is the Department of Home Affairs website. This is the subclass 485 post-higher education work stream. And you can see here that one of the qualifications is they must be this age. You must be 35 years of age or under when you apply. You can be 50 years of age and under when you apply if you are studying a master's by research or doctoral degree, or they're a Hong Kong or British national overseas passport, which doesn't apply here. So we currently are not teaching master's by research or PhD qualifications. So this would not apply. So all students need to be 35 years of age or under at the time they apply for the 485 visa.
Okay. So, and the next question, so I'm definitely sure it's a not. So, if a student's spouse got two refusals to Australia, can this student apply without spouse initially, and can they apply after 6 months for the dependent and the possibility of visa success rate? So, we're not sure about it. So John, it's over to you.
Yeah. The fact that the spouse has already had two visa refusals would raise a red flag for us, and we would probably reject it. The student cannot apply without the spouse. We would again, as I've said, unfortunately, too many students do not tell the truth. They tell us that no, my spouse is going to stay in Sri Lanka, but then they don't, and they apply for a visa and get rejected. If the spouse has already been rejected twice, that tells me there's a problem there, and we would not allow that case.
Yeah.
The chance of visa success, in my view, would be quite low.
Yes. So, and so, whether a student complete a bachelor's degree in logistic or supply chain management is eligible to apply for MBA General, is it required an MBA to be in the same field of study?
No, the MBA doesn't have a cognate skills requirement. So the only requirement for the MBA is that a student has completed the equivalent of an Australian bachelor's degree.
Yeah, so it could be from any field, but as long as they're meeting the entry requirement, yes.
That's right.
So Shonal got a question, is that compulsory spouse should have a degree for spouse visa?
Yes, so we did answer that question before. We do expect that the spouse has a similar level of education to the applicant. Because we only allow married couples for postgraduate students, we would expect usually that the spouse, if the student is applying for a postgraduate qualification, that their spouse should have a bachelor's degree. As I said earlier, if the spouse is male, 100%, they need to have an equivalent qualification. If the spouse is female, we will look at that on a case-by-case basis and may allow the applicant if the female spouse has a lower qualification.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir John. And I think that's all the questions. And oh, another one. If a student has a completed bachelor's program affiliated from Australia, New Zealand, or UK university, do you have a still time limit after bachelor's degree for English waiver?
It's generally within 10 years.
So there we go. You got an answer. So that's within 10 years. So I'm definitely sure we will ask what they were doing for 10 years. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so that's all the questions. But if you have any question related to the requirements or anything, so you prefer, like, we advise you to go through the gag, or if not, you got Ravi, so who's the regional manager, you all aware, so you can connect with him or myself, or you're more than happy to email or drop a text to Sir John at any time for clarification. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you very much, Sir John, for the clarification and the informative session. So if there's anything, so please come back. So, but just keep remember, don't do any negative marketing. We just became level 1. So it's all, we still go through the quality. It's not about the quantity. So it's relaxed. It doesn't mean waiver. So please stop using the word of waiver or not accepting or not required. So we may still require, though we are level 1, even though we say like we only ask for financial for 3 months. But in case if the profile it's not good, so admission we can still come back and ask for supporting documents. So and English, and also we may come back and ask for it, but don't use those kind of a word for marketing. So even if you have any marketing material, maybe even a FB or social media post or a video, please come for approval before you posting it. Come to Ravi and share and ask for approval. So, and good luck for everyone. So let's do it. And we have a good visa grant rate, though we were level 2 for the term 5. So we became level 1. So let's go even better. And thank you, Sir John, again. And thanks everyone for joining on your morning hours. So let's get back to work.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.